Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We're gonna talk about something today. I think it's gonna be along the lines of the physical therapy side. Another AI job takeover, much like the rest of our videos. Any what's it, housekeeping, Mike? Anything you want to add before we jump into this?
No, I don't think so. I think we just jump right in.
One of these days, it's gonna be sirens, hair on fire. Everyone needs to do this. I can't wait for it.
this one's just the next in line.
Next up.
It wasn't really. I wasn't expecting anything in this arena yet, but it just makes sense.
It does. So here's what we're talking about. And I'll read you the summary real quick. Medical startup Sword Health announces AI that patients can talk to. Here's the article. We'll leave that image up as I read the summary. Sword Health announced the launch of Phoenix, this is the cool part, conversational AI platform designed to revolutionize healthcare delivery. Phoenix leverages advanced AI to provide real-time interactive therapy sessions, combining the expertise of human clinicians. I don't know why I suck at reading. With the scalability of AI technology. I can't wait for AI to read this to me. This platform aims to predict, prevent, and treat pain more effectively by guiding patients through therapy sessions 24/7, significantly reducing the need for surgeries and lowering healthcare costs. The announcement highlights Sword Health's ongoing commitment to innovation in healthcare following its significant growth in 2023, where it nearly tripled its revenue and delivered 1.5 million AI therapy sessions. Phoenix is set to enhance patient engagement and outcomes by providing personalized care that can be accessed anytime, anywhere. The company also raised $130 million in a mix of primary and secondary sales, boosting its valuation to $3 billion, underscoring investor confidence in its pioneering approach to a digital healthcare.
That's a
I
mouthful.
kind of thought I knew what I was going to say here. This isn't publicly traded, is it?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it to see if it was public yet. It doesn't sound like it if they're still like raising seed stage money.
Yeah, I guess they're not issuing shares. That would be a different conversation.
Yep.
I wanted to talk about this image, so everyone keep that fresh in their mind. Because when you first told me about this, when you sent me this article, I know you're thinking your exact words were, "There goes physical therapy, physical therapists," and I actually think physical therapists might still be one of the last ones to go. But I think physical therapy itself booms after this. And if you look at the image right here, she's in shape. Not talking about her body, but she's doing all right. Someone like that can watch an iPad. I've used stuff like this for gymnastics, being a gymnastics coach, and we've videoed and just shown like, hey, this is where your form is off, and it's a great tool. But I've been to physical therapy once, and it was just a bunch of. There was a lot of things you could have just sent me in text, and I could have done it at home.
Yeah.
And every physical therapist I've ever met slammed. They're just busy.
Yeah.
People just do things that destroy their bodies, not knowing it, because the education, as far as this goes, is next to none. And your joints have miles on them.
Yeah.
So I think this booms in a different way. I think the older generation stays going to a physical therapist. I think now they have the ability to. And now I think, hey, a quick 15-minute physical therapy session, boss says I should do it, health insurance says I should do it, I get a cheaper rate if I'm logged into this app. There's a million ways to almost make people do this, which I know usually sounds bad, but I promise it's probably beneficial if you're having that conversation. And then you can do this from home. So I actually just think it booms without replacing, if that makes sense.
It's
or
possible.
Maybe a little bit of both. One or the other.
That's what I was going to say. I think it's going to be a little bit of both, because from personal experience, we just had my father-in-law get his hip replaced, I don't know, less than a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he had in-home physical therapy. And it was incredibly difficult to get someone to come out consistently.
Okay.
I think this could have saved a lot of time and got him up and at him sooner than it took, uh, because physical therapy just took so long.
But with that, an iPad can't help you stand up.
No, but I could have. I was helping him stand up.
Oh, okay. So with the assistance of someone at home.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Like
Well,
if I had the instructions telling me what to do, I could have run through all the physical therapy with him.
I didn't even think about that as far as if you have a family member, it would be a lot easier. But what I
Hmm.
was thinking, even what I said almost just solves your problem because it was tough to get someone out to come out consistent. Whether it's there, you could just be gridlocked, just tough to get to, um, or like they are just so packed they don't.
They were just so swamped. They were
Yeah.
like trying to get an appointment was incredibly difficult.
Yeah, and like I said, I've been in physical therapy, so I've been one of those people blocking I'm the reason, your father-in-law didn't get one.
Yeah,
And like I said, you could have texted me the image, like, hey, do this,
yeah,
like, but plus it was for my wrist and elbow, like
yeah,
I'm physically driving myself there and back. I'm taking up someone's time. So for a million reasons, I would almost surely want to buy this stock or at least invest something in it.
yeah,
Uh, Insurance is paying for it. I do like just the guaranteed money. Like I said, you can make people do this for cheaper insurance. Um, yeah, I don't know how many people would fight this. If your health insurance goes down each month, uh, requisite of your job, you just have to log into this app and do some things. The premium is usually not out of the person's pocket.
yeah,
That that's easy money, I think. Not
yeah.
to call this a cash grab, but I think this benefits. I'm actually pretty excited for this one. I think this benefits a lot of people.
It does, and one is going to get, and then physical therapy is just the beginning, right? This is just a
Mhm.
domino in the series of dominoes that are going to fall in the medical field of getting support from AI, right?
Mhm.
Um, this expands the availability, basically the things that we talk about, abundance, bringing everything down to zero,
Yes.
right? Healthcare costs are going to go down to almost nothing because this is going to just be, uh, proliferated through everything. Everyone's going to be able to get access to it. You don't have to worry about hiring a full physical therapist.
Yeah.
Um, it's just so many benefits.
Does it? But you would need the one problem I have with what you just said was that it goes down. We can't get McDonald's to back off 50 cents off of Big Mac. Once prices go up, companies have a hard time bringing it down. And the inflation reports you guys see on the news, it leaves out convenient things like food. Like it's in a different category. So
Yeah,
yes, according to our economy, inflation's coming down. According to what you spent in 2020 versus now, 50% more.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, they're still going to make a profit, right? But
mhm.
it's definitely going to be cheaper than having a person come out to your house.
Yes,
100% guaranteed.
yeah. But what I'm worried about is the monopoly medicine has if we're going to go down this route. Because
Hmm.
right now, if three or four companies, big companies, make this, they're going to undercut each other, and that's how you get like that race to zero between like Samsung and Sony.
Right.
And if there is just a monopoly or just that agreement of this is the bottom, we can compete with ours has bright lights, ours doesn't, but we don't. There's just that unspoken agreement of we don't mess with the price. Maybe as inflation goes, if it stays at $300, or we're just throwing out a number, health insurance wise.
Well,
Uh,
that's where capitalism comes in, right? I know, like in your example, like there were plenty of examples in the past of, like, say, oil companies or the telco companies saying this is what we're charging, and they colluded, which is basically illegal.
yeah,
However, like what we've talked about is there are going to be many startups of one person who will create something to compete with them and just clobber them if they don't stay ahead of the game.
yeah. You need that one person to do it,
Yeah,
and hopefully it's not an ex Boeing employee.
and what will and what will happen is if there's not enough competition, someone will be at home who is an AI engineer and whose family member or themselves have a need for physical therapy or whatever that next thing is. They'll get a sticker shock of what they were paying, and they'll develop the next thing.
Yeah, I hope so because I think that's the one wrench in everything is that you get, because competition will drive down price, it drives up new technologies, innovation. If the medicine business, and I've kind of, it just clicked now, just from this conversation, just clicked now as to how medicine can keep in control and kind of keep the monopoly, and that's
Yeah.
pulling Amazon. Like that guy you just mentioned, does he have morals or does he like money? Because what if Amazon is in this and says, I'll give you 2 million, right, or 3 million, 5, 10 million, what's it to them? And says, for all your technology right now, you don't touch it ever again, or we call you if we need your help.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, and he sells it as a package deal. There goes that. And real quick, it's only illegal if you're broke. Uh, these companies
Well,
have money that laws don't matter anymore.
and not to spin it in a total positive light, but I do think something like a chat GPT
Mm-hmm.
will be able to serve in this function later on down the road. So this is a specialized tool now.
Okay.
So I do think a chat GPT, which is more of a general tool,
Mm-hmm.
will get very broad and deep in knowledge to be able to take over something like this later on down the road.
So does it just learn everything? How does it unlearn? How do you prevent it from learning, I guess?
Something like a chat GPT, like any of the LLMs.
Yeah. So right now it's in Congress. Like they're talking about where it can learn from. Because did it learn from a YouTube video, and did we sign an agreement that says you can use our data to learn? Because
That
we've never had to go over any of this.
that horse has left the barn, man. They've connected all these LLMs to the internet,
Mm-hmm.
and they've taught it to code. So I
Yeah,
mean, those two things have obliterated any kind of law that we could ever put in place to stop it.
that's what I think. But now I'm curious about how they just say from here on out you can't use it. We talked about synthetic data versus real data. And that's kind of why they've had to go towards synthetic data, because people are pushing back saying, don't use us to
Yeah,
learn this. And does a
answer
company like this say this? Because let's say this was publicly traded, that would be the bear case for this is they come out and someone says, that's cool, we just got the back end of it. And
yeah.
then
But
now
then
we have our own.
someone like a Deep Mind who's developing Gemini would just,
Mm-hmm.
which is owned by Google, would just point it at YouTube, and there's probably a million physical therapy videos out there. It would just learn instantly.
Hopefully better
I
than
mean,
how it's learning so far.
yeah. Look, it's early. It's early days, right, man? Like,
Mhm.
there's gonna be some bumps. Um, but back to the original article.
Mhm.
It's just amazing. It really is that we're coming out with these specialized uh, AIs, these to really help knock down some of these things that just are unavailable to a lot of people.
Yeah. And what would really be cool is if Elon could get internet to the world. Did you know only 33% of the world has internet?
I knew it was something like that. I know it's not everywhere.
Do you know the look on my face? Like when I found it, like, could you imagine just going to another country and they're like, what's the internet? I'm like, I don't know, magic. What do you mean, what's the internet?
Yeah.
And then what happens when they figure out what an iPad is? I think there's so much potential that could be unlocked. But it always goes out to, I don't know, Ethiopians. They're just so little. Like I don't know, guys. I don't travel, but just imagine where they don't eat, they don't have health care, nothing. And if they could unlock something like this, what did they just learn about their diet, their health? How many diseases are they eating?
Did you just watch a bunch of '80s commercials with Sally Struthers?
No, but I was trying to think of, like, it sucks that when I think third world country, because they're always promoting that with like the sad music. I could abandon one for 7 cents a day, or I can adopt one.
Yeah.
Uh, I would like to get
I mean,
7 cents a day.
the real places that you can think about are, like, say, Mongolia, or
Mhm.
like the Central Asian countries that don't have a whole lot of population. So there was no incentive to, you know, bring internet there.
The incentive is, what if Einstein? What if the next Einstein, Elon Musk, is just hanging out right now in a rice field? Just hanging out with this pet fish in a rice paddy. Like, But we just never unlocked that potential because we just couldn't give him something so basic as an iPad, and his wrist probably hurts from doing all the gardening. And then now all of a sudden, he's got physical therapy. He cures cancer. That's incentive.
We have jumped the rails on this one.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of positives. I don't think we've crossed the. There's something you said that makes me want to say I don't think we've crossed that tape where it can't. Uh, I feel like there's still a way. Now I haven't figured it out because I'm trying to figure out how they would do it. How do you block this? How do you maintain control? Because if I'm oil money or the government, if I want all of this, what can I put in place to stop it from just spilling out? What if I only want to open up Pandora's box in my office? Is there a way they can do that?
Are you talking about just AI in general, or the healthcare industry trying to put a cap on what people can build with AI?
I think if someone's going to try, it's the healthcare and medicine is going to be the big one. I don't know how you would stop that as far as DeepMind's figuring out new ways to probably make different solar panels, new materials, stuff like that. So the big one in my head, would be medicine, something like this, because that there's so much money and corrupt money when it comes to insurance, health insurance. You spend it every month, and then the day you need it, like, okay, now it's your turn. They're like, nah, remember that one time in '97 you were 15 days late? Yeah, page 612 in the contract says you can't do that. So we're not going to cover you. I can't stand insurance companies. And I feel like they're going to be the ones that try to figure this out or put that fight up in the first place.
So big pharma is definitely going to try to fight a lot of this. However, there is a ton of money in startups developing not just drugs but therapies for all kinds of stuff that are outside big pharma.
Yeah,
and a lot of them aren't public yet. In fact, most of them aren't. But like CRISPR is an example of one that is public, who's using the CRISPR technology. But for every CRISPR, there's 20 more.
Yeah, that we don't know about.
Yeah, using similar technologies that'll just cure something, and the big pharma will just have zero chance to stop it.
I know this is definitely kind of the same realm, healthcare. What you just said reminded me, it's something we need to look into, and maybe even, I'm sure somewhere along the lines they use AI to figure it out. But I did see on the news a blood test for breast cancer, and it picks up the old cells in your DNA from old cells from the cancer. Anyway, you used to be able to do this. I might be butchering this. 3 or 4 cancer types. This blood test now can detect up to 1,800.
Really?
For women, yeah. And the lady just said, we don't know what to do with this data, because they ran a small sample. They found it, and every one of them had the cancer, and then they cured it. But now the question is, because they found, I guess they could detect it 15 months before you show any signs or anything, before a doctor can find it.
Nice.
And so the question is, do we pump them full of radiation now? Do we just monitor it and wait for it to come? So that's a video we'll be doing later. I'm just letting you know with the rest of the world.
Okay.
But
I'll go look for the articles.
Okay, yes, because I do feel it's just funny that I was hearing that today as you sent this article as well, and then DeepMind going over folding proteins and getting into the medicine industry that way.
Yeah,
I feel like we are just at the. If this is, I feel like there's an unraveling example here, but like we just started pulling on the string and the whole sweater's coming undone. I do feel like the next couple of years, healthcare is going to be drastically different.
It is, because with each new discovery, and the more we learn, the AI can learn, the faster it will develop things to cure things fast. It's like a feedback loop. Mm-hmm. The more it learns, the faster it will cure stuff. The faster The faster it knows, the faster it knows it's curing things, it'll basically reinforce what it's learning to cure more things.
So it's, and I know guys, a lot of guys, probably some girls. I always make this reference: spools like a turbo instead of a supercharger. So instead of just that flat learning curve, as it goes, it just exponential, just grows.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we just start spooling up.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going for it.
We're at the very, I guess I'd call it the cusp of where we're starting to make that L.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
How long do you think it is before, this is the last question, we'll wrap it up here.
Okay.
This is for everyone in the comments too. How long until it's considered malpractice for a doctor to see a patient without consulting some form of AI?
Just because of the pushback, and every doctor I know has gigantic egos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it's going to be 5-6 years.
Okay. How long until that gets, because I agree there. Let's say there was no pushback. When does it get brought up, I guess? Like, I think literally brought up and like the fight begins.
I think we'll start to see that fight in a couple of years when stuff like this technology that's coming out now proves itself as being better than a doctor alone.
Yeah, I think we got the same timeline, because
we'll start seeing more and more examples of, hey, this AI product diagnosed this, or help me with this, or combination with this doctor. We'll start hearing more and more examples of that, and then it'll just
there was an article we already talked about. I don't know if we did a video on it, but the AI diagnosis was already 96 or 97% more effective.
Yeah.
Or it was either 90% more effective or more accurate.
It was more accurate.
Okay. Yeah, I remember it was already a ridiculous number of like, even if I was a doctor, I would just be using that, because who wants to be wrong?
Yeah, in fact the doctors held back the accurate diagnosis.
No, man. 2 years pushback, 4. That's my answer.
2 to 3 years when we start to have the conversations. I'm sticking with 5 or 6, because I know how they operate. They're like, they know everything.
Yeah, that helps doctors out though. If I'm thinking, now I don't have an ego because I don't care, but if I have a patient that came in and said, I put in all my symptoms in AI and here's where it says, and it kind of just lines up with what I physically see anyway, like, I'm at least going to explore that. Like, hey, you know your body better than you, and you typed it all in and AI said this.
So I have heard multiple doctors talk about how they hate when patients come in and they talk about WebMD and self-diagnosis. Like, they just absolutely can't stand it. They hate it.
But that's WebMD.
Huh?
If I go to WebMD and say I coughed once and then sneezed 15 minutes later, it tells me I have lung cancer. Right? So, like, everyone knows that. You don't go to WebMD for anything unless you want to have a panic attack. That's all that is. I'm dying.
Yeah.
It just says you're fortunate enough to start planning your own funeral, but you better get moving, because it sounds like it doesn't have much left.
Yeah. Actually, I hope I'm wrong, really. I hope AI assisted diagnosis comes sooner rather than later.
I don't see why it wouldn't. I'm trying to put myself in the doctor's shoes. Maybe we'll get a doctor on here and talk about that. I know a couple. I'm gonna see if they'll hop on here and have this conversation.
That would be a great one. I would love to be part of that. Let's do that.
I'm not gonna say his name, but I do know the one I've already talked to you about this says he was impressed because the way it was figuring out the issue was how he would.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and he was the first one to tell me it will be malpractice to see a patient without consulting AI.
Okay, get that person on. That'll be a good show.
Okay, I'll reach out to him. But for now, let's wrap it up. Everyone has their questions.
Okay.
And can you hold a plank like this, girl? Show up for the audience one more time. How long can you hold that?
Not even a second.
Well, I can at least get 3 or 4.
If you can't tell, I am severely out of shape. I gotta fix myself, dude.
I couldn't do it that straight. but if my knee is off the floor, if it counts, I'm good. I'm about in between this top one and and this one. I'm at the halfway mark. I can make it. All right,
Yeah.
wrap it up here. We will see all of you guys in the next one.
See ya.
Have a good one.